In the silent graveyard of history, some names are written in gold, others are etched in blood. King Valerius was not a ruler, he was a storm that refused to pass over the Iron Kingdom. He sat upon a throne carved from the bones of his enemies, believing himself a god among men. While his vaults groaned under the weight of stolen gold, his people groaned under the weight of hunger. Fear was the only air his subjects breathed. He mistook their terrified silence for loyalty. To Valerius, human life was a currency spent easily and replaced without a second thought. He built monuments to his own vanity, financed by the empty bellies of 1,000 children. The earth itself seemed to wither under his gaze. Even the rivers turned bitter under his reign. He believed he was untouchable. He believed the screams of the many were too quiet for the heavens to hear. But the universe keeps a ledger that no king can burn. The ink of justice is made from the salt of human tears. Every tax collected was a drop of life squeezed from the weak. Every law he passed was a chain added to an innocent soul. He mocked the very idea of a moral harvest or divine consequence. He thought he was building an empire of stone and iron. But he was merely building a tomb made of cold, gray ash. The curses of the widow were not lost in the passing wind. They were gathering like a storm directly above his golden roof. His power was absolute, and his cruelty was legendary. But the higher the tower, the more devastating the coming fall. The stars themselves began to align against the man who forgot he was mortal. He saw a conqueror, but the mirror saw a dying man. Faith had withered in the shadow of his growing arrogance. To eat was a crime. To live was a struggle in his realm. The universe was preparing its response to 20 years of pain. He was unaware that the scales of justice were finally moving. Time is a patient hunter, and the king's time was short. The Iron Kingdom was about to learn a lesson in humility. He slept soundly, not knowing the nightmare was already at his door. Yet, even the darkest forest holds one single, delicate flower. Prince Alaric was the only piece of the king's heart that was still human. For this child, the monster became a protector and a father. To the boy, Valerius was not a tyrant, but a hero. He loved the boy with a ferocity that bordered on madness. In Alaric's eyes, the king saw the innocence he had long ago murdered. He promised the boy an empire that would last 1,000 years. He believed his walls could keep out the darkness he himself created. But on the eve of the boy's 7th year, the music stopped. A sudden chill swept the room that no fire could ever warm. The laughter vanished, replaced by a terrifying, hollow silence. A fever that burned like a furnace took hold of the child. Valerius caught his world as it began to crumble in his arms. A dark vein, like a thread of black ink, crawled up the boy's neck. It was a mark no healer had ever seen, a mark of the abyss. The palace became a hive of panic and desperate prayers. The finest healers came with gold-plated tools and ancient scrolls. But their medicines were useless against the weight of the stars. "Heal him, or I will bury you all with him," the king roared. But even the king's rage could not intimidate the Grim Reaper. The veins moved like living snakes, choking the boy's life force. He offered half his kingdom for a single hour of health. But the universe was not interested in the king's stolen gold. The great king was finally facing an enemy he could not execute. They whispered that the prince was not dying of a plague, but a death. For the first time, Valerius felt the terror of the helpless. A sign that the divine scales were ready to be balanced. The boy looked at his father, but he saw only a stranger. His power could conquer nations, but it could not stop a fever. The prince was fading, and the king was losing his soul. From the wasteland, where no man goes, came a messenger of truth. He carried no medicines, only a voice that sounded like thunder. He walked into the throne room as if he owned the palace himself. "Save my son," the king begged, falling at the hermit's feet.
"Your gold is the very poison that is killing him," the dervish said. "This is not a sickness of the body, Valerius. It is a sickness of the crown."
Every vein on his throat is a cruel decree you signed in blood. The ghosts of those you crushed are now standing on his chest. The boy is carrying the weight of the lives you extinguished. For every home you burned, his lungs now burn with fire. Karma is not a punishment. Valerius, it is a mirror of your deeds. He is dying because you chose to be a monster instead of a man. The realization hit him harder than any sword or spear ever could. The universe does not forget, and it finally has your attention. "How do I save him?" the king screamed into the emptiness. "Only a heart that breaks for others can. Heal the heart that beats for itself. Give back the life you took. Only mercy can wash away blood." He had 20 years of debt, and only one night to pay it. The messenger was gone, leaving the king in the silence of his soul. He realized he could not command the heavens. He had to earn them. "I will carry it," he whispered. "Let it take me, not him." The cosmic law was waiting for a genuine act of sacrifice. The monster was dead. Only a father remained. He stripped himself of everything that made him a tyrant. "I will bring back the light, Alaric, I promise." He did not call for his horse. He did not call for his guards. The gates that kept the world out were finally thrown wide. He stepped into the mud, his bare feet touching the cold earth. The King of Iron was stepping into the fire of his own repentance. A tiny spark of hope in the middle of a great, dark night. He walked into the darkness of the city he had ignored for decades. He knocked on the doors of the very people he had destroyed. He did not demand, he begged for forgiveness. For every tear he had caused, he now offered a hand of help. In that moment of true humility, the cosmic chain began to break. He worked until his hands bled, feeding the hungry himself. The fear in their eyes was slowly replaced by a strange, new hope. He released the innocent and wept for the years he had stolen from them. For the first time, he felt the heartbeat of his people. Every act of mercy was a breath of life sent back to his son. He had lost his wealth, but he had finally found his humanity. The night was over, and a new dawn was coming to the Iron Kingdom. He did not check his treasury. He ran straight to his son's room. "Father, you're covered in mud," the boy said with a smile. The weight was gone. The curse had been lifted by the power of change.
He never wore that crown of thorns again.
The Iron Kingdom was renamed the Kingdom of the Heart. He was no longer a king to be feared, but a father to be loved. "A crown is a responsibility, my son, not a privilege." The paradise was finally open to everyone. The universe was satisfied. The balance had been restored. He had learned that true power is the ability to dry a tear. The boy was safe because the man had changed. Life always finds a way, even in a heart made of iron. Justice is not found in a sword, but in a shared loaf of bread. We are all architects of our own destiny. Every action is a seed. Every word is a shadow we leave behind. In the end, we are measured by what we healed, not what we conquered. For the highest throne is the one built in the hearts of others. Choose mercy, always.